What's going on, everybody? This week's Homeship, I want to talk about Halloween. I want to talk about how I believe we should be interacting with this holiday, how we should be feeling about it. Should we be scared? Should we be any of those things? I don't think so, so let's kind of unpack this a little bit. We're going to start off by talking about Christmas. So Christmas is a holiday that we celebrate. It actually has nothing to do with Jesus, but this is a day that Christians and the church uses to celebrate his birth. And Halloween can really be the same thing. So for you and your family, I want to just make a couple of connections from the traditions of holiday to the first couple books of Genesis and use that as kind of a foundation to what we're doing this year. If you are going to allow your kid to dress up and go trick-or-treating, then these are the biblical connections that we can make to really drive home that, hey, we're not out here to celebrate a holiday. We're not out here to celebrate, darkness or anything weird that's going on, or spirits, or even the dead. We are here to celebrate Jesus and what he did for us on the cross. Now, let me make those connections for you. When Adam and Eve sinned in the garden, the first thing they realized is that they were naked. The next interaction they have with God, God comes and he clothes them. He puts on an outer layer. The next thing that we see is once sin has come in, humanity now has to start making sacrifices to cover their sins. The first sacrifice we see is from Cain and Abel, where Cain brings crops and Abel brings animals. And this is the process that we have to take all through the Old Testament, that the Jews had to take in order to cover their sins. And this is ultimately what Jesus comes and does, is he becomes the last, the full, the perfect, the complete sacrifice for us, so that now we don't have to continually sacrifice those things. We just get to partake in the sacrifice of Jesus. So Jesus was the Lamb of God, right? He comes down to earth. He lives a perfect life. He's blemishless and blameless. And he comes and he dies for us as the ultimate sacrifice. And whenever you're looking at Halloween this year, I want you to remember that story, because whenever we are putting on a costume, I want you to remember that we are naked in a sense, right? Sin has come in and we are now exposed to everything because of the separation from God. But God is faithful, and he was faithful enough to send us Jesus, who has clothed us in his righteousness. The second thing I want you to remember is that whenever you are giving out candy or going and trick-or-treating and getting candy from other people, I want you to remember the sacrifices that we used to have to make. We used to have to make all of those sacrifices. And again, God is so faithful, and he sent Jesus to come and be the ultimate sacrifice for us in order for us to come back together with unity with him. So yes, there are some spooky things about Halloween. There are some evil things about Halloween, and some people use this day to celebrate evil, but not us. We want to take this time to remember and praise Jesus for what he did for us on the cross, and look at the gospel message that is all throughout the traditions of Halloween. Thank you so much. See you guys next week.